Hey y'all, today I'm going to be showing off a sweet budget loadout that can cost as little as 100,000 rubles, while still having level 4 armor. Stick around and let's get right into it. So, starting off with the usual gun breakdown. For this loadout I've chosen the MP9N. Later in the video I will explain why I chose it, but timestamps are in the description if you'd like to skip ahead to that. Anyways, beginning the build, I have the stock MP9N. Now, I personally like to use this gun suppressed as it lowers the recoil slightly and gives you the option for a flashlight. So to do that, I'm going to add the MP9 muzzle adapter, and then onto that, the MP9 suppressor. Now onto that adapter, you can add a flashlight as well, like I mentioned, and I tend to use the Balder Pro, but honestly any option is totally fine here. Now after doing that, the build is just about finished. I do usually take off the side rail and the rear sight, as they are just additional parts that I don't use. Of course, you do probably want a sight here, and I use the XPS 3-0. However, like with the flashlight, any option is fine. And honestly, that's the complete build. Not considering the price of the sight and flashlight, since those will change depending on which you pick, this build costs just 55,000 rubles. And if you opt for no suppressor, you can get it as cheap as 24,000 rubles. Now, I know a lot of people aren't very big fans of this gun for varying reasons, but here's why I chose it. With a fire rate of 1100 rounds per minute, this thing can easily take someone out regardless of their armor in literally a few tenths of a second. Even using PST-GZH ammo, it takes just 9 rounds to kill in the legs, and assuming you get absolutely zero fragmentations, that takes around 0.5 seconds. Obviously with stuff like RIP ammo, or if you just get a bullet fragmentation, you can drop that time down to 2 or 3 tenths of a second, which is just crazy stuff. If you don't believe me, check out this clip where I dropped this guy rocking fort armor. I'm just using PST ammo here. Now, obviously some limitations of this gun would be its ranged capabilities, or simply just how quick you use your ammo. However, in my experience, this gun is really strong on labs, factory, customs, and reserve. It could easily be made into a sidearm on maps such as woods or lighthouse when you're sniping. Anyway, now it's time to move on to the loadout. I'm going to start with the armor. I find that armored rigs tend to be much more budget friendly compared to normal armor. Typically my go-to rig is what I refer to as the rat rig, also known as the 6B3TM rig. But for this loadout I don't really think that's going to work, since I would imagine most players want more than 3 additional mags. So my choice of rig is going to be the Anna M2 rig. For 3 round frame glasses and 3 Colpack face shields, you can get this rig from level 3 Ragman. Typically, both the glasses and face shield cost around 10 to 12,000 rubles each, so you can get this rig for around 60,000 rubles. Now, I know that's not super cheap, but you get 9 mag slots for a somewhat similar price to the Rat rig, and as well, the Anna M2 is level 4, has 60 armor points, and is made of the same material as the Rat rig. As well, the Anna rig actually has better or at least equal stats compared to the Rat rig, so you're really not losing out on much here. Now that we have that figured out, what helmet should we be using? Like in my underrated budget loadout video, which if you are interested in, you can check out in the top right corner, I'm going to be using the 6B47 helmet. I know lots of players default to the steel helmet, however for virtually the exact same price, or sometimes even cheaper when doing the bleach barter, like I'll show on screen right now, you can get the 6B47 helmet, which has both better stats than the steel helmet and has ear protection as well. So there's really no reason not to use the Ratnik helmet. This comes out to around 20 to 25,000 rubles depending on how expensive bleach is when you buy it. Now when it comes to talking about ear protection, or just headphones as some people call them, this isn't really something that I can just tell you what to use. Obviously the GSSH headphones are the cheapest, but myself and a lot of other players really dislike the sound profile of them. I personally use Comtac 2 headphones regardless of how expensive my kit is, but honestly this is going to come down to your personal preference, and if you don't already have a favorite, you'll just have to experiment. Now let's discuss meds. For this breakdown I will be trying to pick cheaper meds, however just know that I personally do shell out on every run for meds, since having stuff like morphine and a hemostat tends to save my life a lot. Now when it comes to budget meds, I would suggest using the Car Medkit from Therapist. For painkillers, I would just default to the 4-use analgin painkillers, I don't know how to say those. Just note that they do dehydrate you super quickly. For heavy bleeds, I'd suggest the Cat Tourniquet from Peacekeeper. It has a much faster use time compared to the Eschmark, and I could see it saving your life in a fight. Overall, this med setup will run you about 20,000 rubles, but if you do like to upgrade your meds, I'd suggest bringing a morphine and a hemostat rather than the 4-use painkillers and the cat tourniquet. This will add around 20 or so thousand rubles, but is about 100 times better in my experience. So overall, when we add together some pieces, if you choose to run an unsuppressed MP9 with just an armor rig and meds, you'll be spending around 100,000 rubles. If you choose a suppressed MP9 with headphones, armor, and meds, you'll run yourself around 150,000 rubles. All things considered, for a complete loadout, I find that that's pretty cheap, and it works really dang well. Just give it a shot and see how it goes for you. You can aim for face, arms, or even legs. It really all works. Anyway, I think that about does it for the breakdown. If you'd like to see another loadout breakdown, check out this one on screen right now, or alternatively, here's one about some budget SMGs. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. If you aren't already, consider subscribing if you'd like to see more stuff like this. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.